Today, my fellow gambling addicts, we're gonna take a look at the newly proclaimed, undisputed Queen of Genshin Impact, Mrs. Booba Sword Electro Goddess Destroyer of Giant Snakes and Zapper of Kaya Squads, Baal, aka the Raiden Shogun, aka the Electro Archon. Baal is a character that's being put up to a very high standard for a number of reasons. The first and most upfront being that she is the Electro Archon, one of the 7 reigning gods of Teyvat. But how exactly does that help us infer how she'll perform in game? Well, it actually gives us a hefty bit of insight. All we gotta do is look in the past. We've already met, and some of us, obtained 2 Archons, the Animal Archon Venti and the Geo Archon Zhongli. Now, both of these characters were released during a time where we knew little to nothing about character releases, so it was difficult to predict just how strong these 2 characters would end up being. And yes, I say end up being because Zhongli was debatably more akin to a soft pebble upon his initial release. It wasn't until a later much needed buff that he became the absolute mountain he is today. Venti on the other hand was kinda just always broken, but the point is these 2 characters are insanely strong, invaluable characters for their kits. Now, coincidentally or not, they both also happen to be Archons. And what does that have to do with Mrs. Zappy Lady, you may or may not be asking? Well, if we take a closer look at the current Archon character kits, there's something interesting going on. Venti is the Animal Archon, and Animal happens to be very heavily associated with crowd control. Venti happens to be, by a long shot, the most powerful crowd control character in the game, given his elemental burst's insane range and strength. Now, Zhongli is the Geo Archon, and Geo has heavy association with shielding. What is Zhongli's most invaluable trait as a character? His ability to make your other characters literally unkillable because of his shields. The trend here is that with Archon characters, Mihoyo seems to be taking into consideration the most unique trait of that Archon's element, CC for Animo, shielding for Geo, and making that Archon the best in the game at performing that unique trait in some flashy Archon-y way. So as the Electro Archon, what is the most unique trait Electro possesses as an element? Well, if it isn't being the flashiest, coolest, albeit one of the weakest elements in the game, then it's probably energy recharge, given that the Electro Resonance passive involves increased particle generation, and many of the Electro domains in the game revolve around stealing your energy, cause that's fun. So if we apply the way Mihoyo has designed the current playable Archons, we can now make the assumption that Baal will bring insane energy recharge to the table in some way. But it's also an interesting thing to bring to the table since until Inazuma, we had very few artifacts, weapons, and pretty much 0 characters that have any focus on energy recharge. Another thing to note is, given her niche as the queen of the energy recharge element, I have my doubts about her being a main DPS, despite how quickly and brutally she beat me in that boss fight.
The brightest flames. What?
Okay, you win. This is because neither Venti nor Zhongli have any focus as a main DPS, and both of their unique elemental niches are also more supportive based, like energy recharge. And in that right, I would go as far as to say as the only 2 Archons that might be main DPS worthy are the Cryo and Pyro Archons, because if you're filling the shoes as greatest performer of the element's niche, that would mean these 2 have got to be absolute DPS monsters. But back to Zappy Lady, what does this all mean for her place in the game? Well, assuming she is coming to the game as the first queen of energy recharge, she'll likely pair best with characters like Eula or Ayaka for their high burst energy cost, or possibly even as a support to characters like Yoimiya, Klee, or Yanfei given the newfound potential in Overload team comps. If these team comps sound cool to you, by the way, you're welcome, cause who doesn't like explosions? But in the end, unless you're like a beta tester or someone who actively indulges in leaks, which I am not condoning, we won't know what Mihoyo plans to do with Baal until we do. Until she's in the game, cause, you know, then we'll know. Anyway, if you want or need more Genshin content in your life, feel free to hit subscribe or maybe even join my Discord server cause it's really awesome and full of awesome people. The link to that is below.